Hi everyone, good afternoon. Today I want to discuss a post that I made yesterday posing the question whether you think it's enabling or helping to pay for your adult children's bills. And I got a myriad of responses, which was awesome. So I want to go through some of those and help the moms that are enabling and give you a process to get you out of that situation. So before we get started, for those of you that are new, my name is Sally Harris, and I help troubled moms, desperate mothers actually, who have defiant adult children, and I help them create a plan with strategies and techniques to really help them cut the anxiety out of their life and provide more peace and hope for them. So I work with these moms, and so I'm going to put a link to my discovery call in the comments after the video. And that is a 45-minute free call with me that will deep dive into the issues that you're having, and we can discuss that. So let's get started. So I'm going to share with you some of the answers that I received yesterday. So again, the question was, do you think paying your adult children's bills or giving them cash is enabling or helping? This is a touchy one, right? Everyone has their own opinion on this. And as you can imagine, it depends on the child. And so we got a lot of answers like that, which is very valid. Parents who are not dealing with the defiant child, they saw this differently. And they had no issue with helping them out, which I 100% agree with. So some of the other answers I received were, one person said, yes, definitely enabling, but would help if it were circumstances out of their control. Many said depends on the situation. One said, guilty of enabling for many years. Once I learned the difference between enabling and helping, I broke that cycle. One said enabling. Now they're using that money for drugs and alcohol. Someone said, we all need help sometimes, and I 100% agree with that. Another person said they wouldn't do it forever. And also many brought up the COVID situation that we're living in right now, and a lot of us are unemployed. And so that situation, if they're out of work, single mom, and that's your child, that true is a unique situation. Depends on the health of the child. Are they stable? Are they responsible? Or is there dysfunction and refusal to grow up? So that's key, right? And this one was interesting to me. So I had a friend say that she's the oldest of 6, and mom enabled the 3 youngest. 2 had meth problems. 1 was a teen mom. Tough love is hard, but necessary. The rest of us have had to hear her complain and watch her constantly be broke financially while they continue to leech off of her. So that's tough, and a good example of how it affects the whole family. And lastly, physically not being able to work is a whole lot different than the unwillingness to drag their sorry butts out of bed or away from Minecraft. And that comes from a very experienced man who's worked with a lot of teams. So wanted to share some of the responses with you, and I want to give you a strategy, and it's called the love approach. So before you there's 4 steps, obviously, LOVE. There's 4 steps to this process of helping you to stop enabling financially. And so let me tell you a little bit about that. First of all, if you're going to implement this approach, please talk with your spouse about this first. If you're not married, maybe you're divorced, or that the father is not living in the same home, there's 2 separate homes. If at all possible, it'd be great if you guys are on the same page, because that would be best for your child. I know that's not always the case. But as much as possible, that would be ideal. So once you have talked with your spouse, figuring out, really getting down to the fine details of, okay, so what are we going to stop paying? Are we going to stop paying the car payment, the car insurance, the cell phone? Believe it or not, many parents still pay credit cards for their kids. And that's definitely something that is on the top of my list that I would get rid of. Now, when we do approach our child with this, it needs to be out of love. Even if we're angry with them, if we've been living in this situation for a really long time, there is a lot of anger. There's a lot of resentment in our hearts, really, and it comes out. And we need to make sure that we are in a good place when we sit down to have these conversations with them, because how they perceive it is their problem. How the child perceives it that's on them. If you deliver it with love and kindness, that is all you're responsible for. So, truly, if I sat down with my child and it was complete disrespect, abuse, anything like that, I would be done. It would all be cut that day. Instead of giving them this 4-week process, I would probably cut everything that day. So again, a lot of it's in their court. So meeting number 1 is let them know that you and dad, or you and stepdad or whomever, that the family is going to be having this conversation, like literally bringing it up from scratch, because a lot of these kids don't think that you're actually going to stop doing this. They're taking you for granted. And so really letting them know that we're going to be making some changes. Now, ideally, a lot of times we'll do this like in 1 month. So each of these meetings are like a week apart. They can be every couple days, however you want to do it, but let's just say we're doing it weekly. So the first week we would do that. The second week, first of all, the moms, as far as, letting the kids know that we're going to be making some changes, as moms, we're notorious for living with this guilt that we have to continually give. It's almost like we're not being a good parent if we're not providing, even though they're an adult. Because we need to come to the realization that our own finances matter, and we have worked many years of our own lives trying to help support our families and raise our children. But there comes a time when this is what's best for not only your child, but for yourself. So your finances matter, right? I was a financial coach back when we lived in Wisconsin. And one thing that I would always, with my clients who had like teenagers, I would invite them to join us in a couple of the meetings once we got through the nuts and the bolts of it and really had a plan. Because those kids, young teens, they needed to see like, this is how the household's going to run now. So they needed to be informed, even if they weren't really paying attention. Their ears were working, and I know it was very successful for a lot of the families to have the children there and be a part of it. Okay, so we need obviously training them to be responsible. Meeting 2 is organize and tally up the amount that you're actually spending. So how much are you paying? How much of their bills are you paying? You really need to organize that and lay that out for them on week 2. Okay. Are they clueless on what it even costs to live? Because depending on what you're paying for them, they may be completely clueless, and that's not necessarily their fault. Because if we've been enabling them for so many years and they never saw a bill, we can't blame them for not knowing. So there's a lot of information and valid teaching moments in all of this. So that's week 2. Week 3 is validate the dates that you are going to stop each bill, each payment. So it doesn't all have to be at once. It's not like, okay, Johnny, on June 1st, you're done. Like, it doesn't have to be like that. It can be like, okay, in June, we're going to stop paying your cell phone. In August, we're going to stop your car payment. Give them time to maybe save up some money and help them create a budget. If that's something that you're good at, like, it doesn't have to be in super detail, but enough to where they can see like they can make these payments. And maybe it's a situation where they're going to have to sell the car. But again, it's not your situation to worry about, unless of course you've co-signed for the car. Then, that's a whole nother story. But, and then in week 4, encourage them. So tell them that they've got this. Tell them that you believe in them, and that really it's time to cut the cord. You're doing this for your own good, but truly for their own good as well. Probably even more so. And I think in the long run, things are going to be much better if you're able to do this. So recapping, so using the love approach, let them know in week 1 what the plans are, that you guys are going to sit down and start looking at everything. Week 2, organize how much you've been spending and figure out exactly what you've been paying and lay that out and show that to them so they understand. Week 3 is validating the dates that things are going to get cut. And then in week 4, meeting 4, encourage them. And obviously the encouragement is ongoing. That's really important. So I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, I will put the link to my discovery call in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.